All right, we are live. What's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Hollywood After Dark for the 26th of August, 2019. Today was a hell of a day. Today was an actual hell of a day. We got to see the D23 exclusive footage. Right, I'm air quoting that right now. I'm air quoting exclusive on that one, right? Ooh, it was exclusive to 6,000 people for 2 days. I mean, to be fair, they held it longer than Comic-Con. It's one of the things I hate about going to Hall H and Comic-Con, right? Like, they go, "Oh, we have this new trailer for you. It's exclusive. Hall H, you earned it. You waited. You're in line." And then, like, as they hit play, it's exclusive for like 30 fucking seconds, right? It's exclusive for like 30 seconds. And as soon as I hit play, someone hits publish to YouTube. I'm not even kidding you. Warner's notorious for this. They are absolutely notorious for this. Kind of kills the buzz of Hall H, to be fair, right? It just completely kills the buzz of Hall H when you go in and you're like, I'm gonna see some exclusive shit for 30 damn seconds, and then it just, I haven't done it in a couple of years. 2 years now. I didn't even go to I was at Comic-Con this year. I didn't even go to Hall H. I was like, maybe I'll go for the Marvel thing, but I didn't really feel like fighting the line. I just didn't. I'm like, you know what? Everything will be online after the fact. I'm really only here for the announcements. But Star Wars, we got to look at that 2 minutes and 11 seconds, which I was somehow able to stretch out into about a 14 and a half minute long video. Should have done a reaction, as I was saying in the comments before going live here, because I woke up this morning and I knew it was coming. I knew the whole thing was coming. And I wake up this morning and it's like 9:30 in the morning is when I wake up. And I roll over and I check the trades. I see what people are saying. And it's like, oh my God, Dark Raid. I'm like, motherfucker. Everything is, damn it. Get up. I'm in no position to do a video. My hair is a mess. I haven't shaved. I'm in like a tank top because, that's what you do, I guess. So I just kind of roll out to the living room and my girlfriend's, "Oh, you want some eggs?" And I'm all like, "Yeah, but first let's watch some Star Wars." And that woke me up, man. That absolutely positively woke me up. I was all like, "Whoa, my God, just got a freaking Darth Maul saber, baby. Hell yeah." And then, of course, I had to rewatch the trailer a couple more times, feeling on those nostalgic feels. One interesting little thing, and I forgot to mention this in my breakdown of it, because, that's not scripted at all. I forgot to mention that, like, did you notice there was the theme of helping or connection or unity? Those scenes were chosen on purpose in order to make it be a specific way. And they did a really good job with it. I mean, granted, it was like maybe 15 seconds of like new stuff. It's like, you want to see C-3PO pissed off? Now we got red-eyed C-3PO. I really hope that's like when he gets the crossbolt and just goes full on cray-cray. That's what I'm hoping happens. I hope he just gets like C3 pissed, and just goes full ham. That's what I want to see. I think that'd be pretty great. That'd be pretty awesome. I'd be okay with that. I'd be 100% on board with that one. Yeah, I mean, like, again, no Rose Tico, right? They did a whole video on that one. It started dawning on me today too. I'm like, man, where the hell is Rose Tico been? She hasn't been anywhere. She's just been like, she shows us like, so I did the video. I just read a comment too. Someone's all like, well, she was clearly at D23, so it's like she's clearly in the movie. I'm like, yeah, she's clearly in the movie. We've seen her at 2 events, not in either teaser trailer, and there's one promotional photo of her looking like she's about ready to go full Karen on Rey. You know what I mean? Like full Becky, full Karen. She's going to be like, "Why are you going near my man? Don't you know he is mine?" But then again, if you really listen to what she has said about it, she's not with him either. She thinks she's with Finn. Finn probably Did you even notice like the love triangles in these movies? All right. I mean, there's a love triangle here, and it's not going to be ended, I think, with somebody being someone's sibling. But you've got like a love tetrahedron thing happening right now. It's really weird. You have Rey. Rey is like, she has got like probably, not to be too crass, but like, if I were to quote Heath Ledger from 10 Things I Hate About You, she's got beer flavored nipples. Okay. At this point, she's got beer flavored nipples. And everyone wants to get a sip. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to get a taste. They all like lined up like, ooh, what is it this week? Is it apple cider or is it Corona? Go either way, import or domestic. But no, if you think about it, and this is they tried differentiating that from Last Jedi, where they kind of removed Finn from the equation. But fuck that. Everyone knows Finn's down for that, right? Everyone knows Finn is down for that. You don't put them together in the beginning of the new trilogy to not have there be some serious chemistry between them. So if you look at it, right, what's on one beer flavored nipple tap? You have Rey, Finn, Kylo. You've got Rey, Finn, Poe. You've got Rey, Poe, Kylo. You got Finn, Rey, and Rose. That's really about it. But really, everything centers around Rey. All the love triangles center around Rey. It's true. I mean, you know that they did that at the end of The Last Jedi when they're like, well, when Rian Johnson's like, ha 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 ha. I wrote the one dude who clearly had the best shot with her, the good guy in that particular love triangle. I gave him a nerdy Asian girlfriend because that's what I've always wanted. He. And then in the end comes like the suave Latino. He's like, hello, my name is Paul Dameron. Nice to meet you. And she's like, I've heard a lot about you. I mean, never mind the fact that we both kind of came back from Starkiller Base. Like, you blew it up. I whooped the fuck out Kylo. Like, that never happened. We never met after Han died and Leia came and hugged me before she hugged everybody else. Like, you landed and ran over and like gave Finn an HJ, whatever, man. But like, we never met in that time period. Like, right after the fact, you're telling me, like it was in the book. Seriously, it was in the book. It was in the Force Awakens novelization, which means it was in the original script, which means they probably shot the scene. Of course, they just cut it out, and Rian Johnson's like, that's a plot hole I can exploit. No, you idiot. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Oh, my God, Rian Johnson. Anyway. I'm excited for Rise of Skywalker. I am. As I put out a video today that's funny to read the comments on. It is a good time to be a Star Wars fan. It really is. We're in a place right now where you got a TV show on the horizon. The same day that comes out, a video game comes out, which looks dope as hell. About 5 weeks later, you've got a movie. You got the final movie in the Skywalker saga. Rian Johnson, nowhere near any of it. Because somewhere in that middle ground is when his Knives Out movie comes, and no one's going to go see that one. And then you've got the TV shows on the horizon. Another season of Mandalorian is already in production. Cassian Andor is going to be shot early next year in London at Pinewood Studios. Script's already written. Obi-Wan going to be in production in 2020. Script's already written. So, I mean, like right now, it ain't that bad. And these are getting big budgets. Huge budgets. Like big bulging ball budgets. To tell these stories, man. It's fucking dope. That's why I have to give credit. There's a guy by the name of Den of Nerds. I don't know his first name. Maybe it's Dan. Dan of Nerds. I don't know. But Den of Nerds, I was watching his reaction video today. On the way home, actually, from running an errand. And he gets to the end. He's all like, we're starting the Gray Order. Which are just like people who are more positive on Star Wars. And who are, critical of it, but positive. Still looking forward to it. That can be somewhere in the center to have an actual discussion. Versus the, if you criticize Star Wars, you're dead to me crowd of like Star Wars only. Or Star Wars Explained. I'm not too sure which one. Which is the guy who was really annoying him and his wife. I forget. Or the fandom menace. Who quite frankly are just obnoxious at this point. I don't watch any of their content. Apparently they talk about me a lot. Or like they hint at me quite a bit. That's what I'm told, at least. I don't know. I'm not that narcissistic. But I don't really watch any of their content because it's just repetitive. It's just, I don't know. Not for me. I mean, if you like it, that's cool. Some of you guys might. That's all good. It's all good. The real Aaron Collins here says, Disney is really diluting the Star Wars legacy and milking the franchise dry. See, I disagree. I see your point to an extent of diluting it. Sure, fine, okay. I think a lot of people would rather see them go to like the older public and like tap that well for a while, and hopefully Dan and Dave will. It just kind of feels like Disney's been listening, or Lucasfilm's been listening, Kennedy specifically. So I think everyone's all like Darth Revan, motherfucker, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. I think that's kind of where I think we're gonna get that at some point in time. I do. I really do think that it's possible that could be the whole Keanu Reeves thing everyone's been talking about. I keep seeing those comments. You want Keanu Reeves for Revan? Yeah, sure. Why not? Put Keanu in everything. So there's that. And then, but as for like, what is it? Milking the franchise. Dude, did you not like grow up in the 80s when everything was Star Wars toy-wise? I'm pretty sure in the 80s you could get like C-3PO lavender scented douches in the right region. Lucas sold that shit out, man. He sold that shit out when it was only 3 movies. Here, Disney might be trying to sell it out, but you got a theme park land. You've got a bunch of movies. You got a bunch of TV shows. You got a bunch of books. Those already existed, though, to be fair. Got a bunch of new books. Got a bunch of comics. I mean, yeah, they've done the exact same thing Lucas did. That's why they spent $4 billion. I think a lot, and I think a lot of the fandom menace, more specifically than anyone else, they don't understand the business of Hollywood. Like they desperately try to understand the business of Hollywood. But what they more focus on are like the outrage headlines and tweets of people who aren't in the industry. People who just comment on the ancillary like the rest of us do. If you really look at the business side of everything, they're not really milking it dry. It's keeping the status quo. You might just be more aware of it now because you're not a fucking kid. But ask your parents, guaranteed. Ask your parents. They will tell you all about that shit. So, anyway, the fourth 1,000 here says Geeks and Gamers is just an anti-SJW channel. You know, I've geeked out about a game. I don't think he's ever geeked out about a game as much. The gaming part of that just kind of feels like you just needed to add something. He complained a lot about Battlefield 5. It's so woke, you guys. Game's actually quite a bit of fun. Not that I haven't tried the single player. I don't really play single player in those games. It's like when Call of Duty's like, we have a great single player campaign. I'm all like, no one cares. But yeah, I think if you go into everything and you're extremely apathetic and never once give something the opportunity to fucking like get good again, or to like realize they maybe made a mistake and change course, you're either like, I don't know, fundamentally broken as a human, or there's a profit angle none of us are seeing. That's how I view it. I have a lot of trouble with these people these days. I do. Not that I think they're bad people, but their commentary on either side, like the people that are so pro Star Wars, or if you even criticize anything, it's like you're an alt-right Donald Trump jizz slurper. You know, like those kind of people. Or it just, again, it's all like the extremes are the ones that ruin it for everybody else. And the extremes are the ones that get the most attention. And so when you want to have nuanced discussion and debate surrounding Star Wars, you really can't. Because people, like there's a guy in my Discord. He's not a bad dude, but like he comes in and he'll just like post the new trailer. And he's like, Disney's a shill. They're destroying nostalgia every fucking day. All the time, just comes in and just like nonstop. Everything's a shill. Everything is terrible. Everything is horrible. And then he'll post who he watches. And it's the usual suspects. That's who you think. You know, and I'm like, dude, no wonder. Like, no wonder. So he started coming after me because I was like, nah, Disney Plus saves Star Wars. And I agree, and I believe that. And he's like, you're just a shell. He didn't say shill. He said shell. He said, you're just a shell. And I finally told him off. And then he was like, oh, well, you didn't have to use like mean words. Like, exactly. Like, come on, man. Anyway. So let's see. The Last Jedi sold 90 million worth of Blu-rays and DVDs in the US alone. It did. That's not even like discussing like how much it sold in digital. We don't even know. They don't release those numbers, man. They don't release those numbers. We have no idea. The Last Jedi really dropped the ball when Finn and Tico went to Laser Las Vegas. Yeah. That's true. I hate Canto Bite. I hate it. Wait, She-Hulk's gonna be the chick Deadpool, like the chick in Deadpool. No, the real Aaron Collins, dude. I fucking love Force Awakens, man. That's why I think I'm gonna love The Rise of Skywalker. I really do. I think JJ's got just a better. I don't know why they picked someone like Rian Johnson to do like the middle movie in a trilogy. It's like one of the worst mistakes Hollywood has ever made. Anyway, I've been rambling on for like 15 fucking minutes, right? That's I guess my intro opening monologue of like complaints because I'm old. I'm going to complain about things. No, actually, I really do enjoy Star Wars, man. I do. I get excited. I really like Star Wars Resistance. I think it's a great show. I can't wait for Mandalorian. I was humming the soundtrack, today when I was out. Like just that it plays like, dun. I can't do it right now, but it's in my head. It's like the soundtrack is already gripping. It's already iconic in my mind. And I'm like, yes. Like a good soundtrack, spaghetti Western shit. I'm going to do live streams after each episode. I'm going to find out when the episodes air. And we're going to do a live stream. Talk about it. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. They do need to release a full trailer. I agree. I 100% agree. All right. The phone lines are open. Feel free to call in. Discord is also available. If you're feeling particularly supportive, there's always Streamlabs is good. Or super chats will get answered. Everything get answered more or less at this point. It's just like, hey, do you like the show? So yeah, and then let me post the Discord link as well. Oh, okay. I didn't realize the last link died. Thanks a lot, Safety, for posting that in the Discord. Okay. So we're good on that front. All right. Am I going to review Netflix Dark Crystal? Yes, I'll love you. Yeah, I am. I got to watch it though. Like the reviews I've seen, just like headlines or like brief overviews, and they're pretty solid. I need to watch the original this week. It's been so long since I've seen it. I can't tell you anything about it at this point. Is Boba Fett going to get his own standalone film? No, that's dead. But I do think Boba Fett's going to pop up in Mandalorian. I do. I really think Boba Fett's going to pop up. You think there's going to be a ton of fourth wall breaking in classic She-Hulk? I don't know. I never read the comic, so if they do it right, they do it right. And I think Feige's excited. I think as long as Feige's excited, we're good. If Feige ever gets complacent, we're screwed as fans. What's going on, Christian? How you doing, buddy? Let's see. Okay, so Deadpool. Okay, so She-Hulk is a lot like Deadpool. Okay, that works out, I guess. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we've got the. All right, let me go into. We got someone waiting in the Discord. We'll just jump right in there. Okay. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong room. All right, voice of the Emperor. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. Sorry, oh shit, I'm getting an echo here. Hang on.
Turn your damn headset down.
No, do you really? Okay.
No, I'm just no. It's anyway.
Yeah, okay.
What's on your mind, man?
Oh man, that armada in the trailer just looks amazing, and I actually have a theory as to why they had that new Darth Maul saber all made up. They want to sell another Inquisitor kind of lightsaber, like the kind from Rebels, but they were like, okay, what can we do that hasn't been done yet? Lightsaber nunchucks.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think it's kind of like, I think what JJ is trying to do, and this could be good or could be bad, depending on who you talk to, he's clearly trying to play up nostalgia, but in a cool way.
Yeah, do nostalgia right.
And I think that's what this, like, that's what I said, like in my breakdown. And I don't know if you saw it or not. When So you talking about like
I
everyone's
think I
talking about
did. I think I did, but only in passing and while I was playing like Death Guard and
yeah
Blood Harvest. I swear to
that
God, that shit's my cocaine now.
that's all good, man. It's all good. So there's a shot right before that Sith fleet shot, which looks sick. Right before that Sith fleet shot, we see the Resistance coming in, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. All the Y wings and X
All the
wings.
Y wings, the X wings, and the B wings, and the A wings,
Yeah,
right? Like that is fucking straight up. That is the rebellion. That ain't the Resistance. That's
that's
the
the
rebellion.
rebellion fleet from like
So
Endor.
yeah. So I'm sitting there. Plus, they had a Carillion blockade. Was it the Carillion ship was right there too?
It was a blockade runner,
A
but
blockade runner, I think. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that was the
yeah.
one from that was the one from A New Hope, and everything else. And so I think they're gonna find like an old rebel base, right? I think they're gonna find an old rebel base, or they're gonna because they're out of luck. Because keep in mind, like at the end of the Last Jedi, and this may be the only real cliffhanger that Johnson left because there's really none. But when you're talking about the the resistance, and the resistance has no friends, no one's coming. That was what he was meaning, like meant to be like the low moment, like the bad guys win, that they got the resistance on the run. There's
Yeah,
no
it's the
one else
second
except for
act.
one ship. Yeah, and it's like cool, but it was conveyed so terribly. It was just conveyed so terribly. But
That's what
that could
happens. That's what happens when you allow an SJW elitist to direct your film.
Well, it was directed well, but it needed someone to oversee it.
Oh
Because
God,
the
yes.
thing is, well, no, because look, again, I will,
I know he's
I
a
will.
good director, but a
He's a
shit
good
writer.
director. Like I always feel like I have to keep defending him on that front, and I know like I maybe shouldn't, but it's like I just
Yeah.
feel like I should. I feel like I got to protect Ryan in that front. Like, no, he can direct well. He just can't write.
Oh God. Oh dear
He's not
God,
Uwe Boll who can't write or direct.
yes. Who?
So there's that. No, it's Uwe. It's pronounced Uwe.
No, no. I was saying who.
You never Uwe Boll? U Boll
Oh,
did
what did he do?
House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark, Postal,
Oh dear God.
Blood Rain. Never saw those movies?
No, no.
Oh man, we follow each other on Twitter. I should try to get him to I've tried getting him to let me interview him. I want to talk about the video game stuff, but his assistant or his person won't
His
let him do it.
assistant is just stonewalling you, kind
It
of
won't.
stuff.
Yeah, it won't let me do it. And he's like, they want to talk about other shit. I'm like, no, no, no. What you don't understand is I don't want to attack him.
Yeah, you
Right?
just
I
want to
don't
talk
want to
to
attack.
him.
I legitimately just want to ask questions, and none of it
Exactly.
is bad because I know some of the actors, like the guy, the main guy in Postal, who was Scott Farkas.
The
in
only
Christmas
Postal I
Story.
remember is the second one, and that's the game.
Well, the game is great, but there's a movie he did in '07, and it as far as video game movies go, this is the one you want to watch because
Well,
keep in
I am
mind
a Warcraft fan, and I liked the movie.
I've
Say what
still
you
never
want,
I've
I
never seen
loved
the
it.
movie. Never seen the movie.
I saw it, and I liked it. It was like the first major blockbuster in China too. I mean, it got
Yeah, well,
almost
the
like
fact
half
that
a billion in China.
yeah, and yet still Legendary and Universal never put up a fucking sequel.
Well, that's probably because they didn't.
They didn't know how to market it. They didn't know how to market it.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, it's they fucked that one up. They did. I mean, I wanted the movie to be a success. I own it.
Two
I
things
bought
I
it.
want to say real quick about
Okay.
The Rise of Skywalker. One, I'm calling it now. That Rey with the hinged double lightsaber, Force Vision. I'm
Oh,
calling it
obviously.
now.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't think
calling it
anyone
now. And two, a friend of mine said that fleet is actually from the unknown regions, and I'm thinking maybe I saw the Chimera in there.
I've seen
And if you know what the Chimera is, it's Thrawn's
well, I know what a
flagship.
chimera is. I don't but
No,
in
not a Chimera, the Chimera, the
Okay,
ISD Chimera.
what is that?
That's Thrawn's flagship.
Oh, nah, they're not going to bring Thrawn in. Not at this point. I mean, he'd be 30 years older than when you see him in Rebels.
You don't know how Chiss age.
That's true. I don't. And there's only one actor I want to see as Thrawn.
And who? And that is?
I'm gonna catch some shit, but like fucking Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise.
He's
I
got
think
the
Tom-
jawline.
He's got the jawline. He doesn't have the height, but they got apple boxes for a reason.
Yeah, but just look at Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, but it's like he's got the intimidating presence. I think I think he could be
Yeah,
that
if he
calm.
bulked up a little bit and did some martial arts stuff like Thrawn did in
Yeah, but
Rebels, yeah, I could totally see him
but
as that.
do you really think if Lucas went to Tom Cruise and was like, "Yo, you want to play a bad guy in Star Wars?" He wouldn't be like, "Closest thing I'm gonna get to being in a Xenu movie." I mean, really, it's like just
A
let
Xenu
Tom
movie like South
let
Park.
if like yeah let Tom. Well, no, because he's a Scientologist, but like
Sorry.
let let him let him do that. Let him be Thrawn. I think
Oh,
I don't know what the chat's saying. Unless I haven't been looking at that one yet.
I
Um,
also have a quick theory about how the first story is getting all these ships. Two words: Starforge.
Probably. I mean, I
I
think it's a
mean, yeah,
vision.
I mean
I think it's a vision. I do. I think it's a
yeah,
vision of her leading them because it's like for one, it's too much order in those ships. It's like it looks like a diagram.
yeah. Plus it looks like they're just a mothballed fleet in the maw,
Yeah. It could be I don't know what that's going to be. I mean, we don't know yet, but anything
or it
is
may just be battle meditation or some shit.
yeah, I think it's going to be like I think Ray is going to be, a lot this is going to be all about Ray. And that's not a bad thing, but just give us something with that. It's all I really care about.
Oh dear God, yes. Please just explain who she is. It's
I
just
mean, what do you guys think? What do you think is going to be like the cloning is going to be a big thing?
I
A lot of people think
yeah.
clones. I don't know.
I wonder if they're going to introduce the grist because they were introduced in the second and third Thrawn novels. They're kind of like this. They're kind of like the Borg. They enslave other species to do their dirty work and they brainwash them like crazy to like jihadist level stuff. And it's just insane the amount of brainwashing they do.
Well, I think you got okay. It really depends on how much they want to interject, right? So they've got 2.5 hours roughly, from what I'm
Uh,
hearing, 2.5 to 3 hours
yeah,
to
two and a
tell a
half to three,
story.
but I'm willing to wager three because they saw how much Endgame made with 3 hours, and they're like, you know what, we could do a lot in 3 hours.
Yeah, well, Endgame also had a 2 hour and like 45 minute movie last year, 2.5 hour movie last year. So I mean, if you
Wait,
think about it,
Endgame
the
did?
no, sorry, Infinity War.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
So I mean, that's the whole point is like they were able to tell those stories and do it well. And Star Wars needs that too. Like I would love it. I would love it if Star Wars, if the Rise of Skywalker was like 3 hours, and they go, okay, the first hour is kind of like just getting rid of everything we saw from like 2017, and then
Oh,
and then the
dear
last
God.
2 hours is telling a Star Wars story. That's going to be conclusion. They're going to have to.
They
There's got to
gotta
be.
retcon. They gotta retcon at least half of what happened in the Last Jedi,
They yeah. I really hope they do. I really
and I really
really
hope
hope
those
they do.
stupid bombers that we saw were just prototypes, and they were like, okay, those didn't work. Let's get rid of them.
I mean, I get why. I understand why everything's happening the way it happened in the Last Jedi. I get it, but it's like still just like the your mama jokes in the beginning. Oh, your mom is calling.
And just cuts out.
It's just bad. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking about the bombers.
Oh, and then it cut out. Yeah, more or less, I was just saying like it's stupid.
All right, yeah. I can
Um,
watch this later on YouTube.
yeah. So anyway, hey, I'm gonna let you go because I see
All right.
I've gotten like a couple missed calls here.
All
Hopefully
right.
they call back. And
All
but
right.
hey, we'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot, man.
Peace out.
All right, thanks. Okay, so if they call back in the meantime, let me just quickly post the Discord link. Discord might be a better way if you don't want me having your number. Safety is one of my mods in Discord. Good dude, and he is good night. Love you 3000. Thanks for coming in, man. And there's the thing right there. No Star Wars hype at all. So bad. Disagree, Brian. Brian, why don't you call in, man? Call in. Just call in. Numbers in the video description. Shoot me a call, and we'll talk about it. Christian, you can call, man. Yeah, the number's open right now. The number's in the video description, or go into Discord. It's all good. I don't know. I get sometimes people call in, and then they don't recall, and that's fine. That's fine. There could be some stuff going on. All right, so we'll give it a second here. Let me take a look here. Shidoko asks, "What if Episode 9 ends in a cliffhanger?" I would not be surprised if that was the big reveal. They're all like, ha, 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 we're going to do Episode 10. That could be a thing. That could be a thing. And I think people would be okay with that. I mean, Fast and Furious is doing 10, right? Like Star Wars could be like, fuck, we don't need, they don't need more than we do. Because think about it. Fast and Furious is going to be at, by the time 10 rolls around, they're going to be at 11 movies. Star Wars has got, I think, 10 movies right now. So, all you got to do is believe the hype. Robert. The hype, dude, the hype is not bad. The hype in Star Wars is not a bad thing at all. There's nothing wrong with getting excited. You always have to manage and mitigate your expectations. That's not a problem. It's not a problem with that at all. There's nothing wrong with wanting to enjoy what you see. I think there are people who do put some unrealistic expectations. I have definitely done it in my own life, 100%. But there are people out there that do definitely, go a little bit too far. And, I mean, when I came home from watching The Last Jedi, I might have had my expectations up too high. And I was not happy. But then again, when I went and saw Batman v Superman, my expectations were through the roof. And they were not met. And I was nowhere near this mad. But then a couple months later, I got to see the extended cut. And the extended cut really fixed a lot of issues and fixed the movie. So maybe if there was ever like a Star Wars The Last Jedi director's cut, an extended cut, that cut. Let's find out. Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on, dude? How are you doing?
Doing okay.
I'm looking at all these people. I'm looking at all these people make thousands of videos about how no one cares about Star Wars.
Yeah, well, I hear that. I hear that too. But I think a lot of people do care about Star Wars.
Yep, and it's getting. That's what everyone's talking about. So hey, I have a few theories, and I want to ask your opinion.
Sure.
Or maybe just tell me I'm full of it. Okay, so I think that Star Destroyer fleet is actually a flashback scene, and I think it's going to be the excuse for us to finally see Luke Skywalker kick some major ass. And I think it's a flashback scene that takes place after the Return of the Jedi, kind of like telling the story of what happened, and then it's going to lead into how the ashes of the Empire led to the First Order. But I think the main reason for it is for us to see not only what happened after the fall of the Empire, but Luke Skywalker kicking some ass. Is that possible?
Well, you know what? It could be one of those things where it's like, what movie did that? Where it shows like the fucking Lord of the Rings. The opening of the Lord of the Rings, the opening of Fellowship told the story of the 9 rings. Or, told the story of who got the rings, and then also showed how, men and elves teamed up to destroy, Sauron, and really just like do all that. Like they need something like that to kind of like set the tone. And we've gotten I guarantee you in JJ's script or his outline, we would have gotten more exposition on the First Order in The Last Jedi. And I really think that like Rian Johnson just expected people to go, yeah, I don't ever need to explain how this happened. They're just going to figure it out. Like never mind. We have a prequel trilogy all about how the Empire was formed. Not that it needed to happen. We kind of figured it out, but at the same time, you know what? People liked it. So maybe get a little bit of backstory, maybe one line of dialogue about who Snoke was, like something. Anything. It's like, I mean, I bet you like J.J. Abrams is like, what the fuck, Ryan? Like I'm telling you, they got nothing. They got nothing. But I do think, as you and I discussed this earlier tonight, I do think, oh yeah, I still have a theory that what we might see is the Battle of Jakku, because it's possible because I feel Jakku ties into it somehow. Like Tatooine tied into the opening of Return of the Jedi. Now, a lot of people have said like, oh, it's JJ is just remaking Return of the Jedi. It's entirely possible. If he remakes Return of the Jedi and doesn't expand upon, like, Force Awakens, I get it in regards to like, reframing things. Like, it's been 30 years, easing people back in, but we're there. We've got it. If it goes back to doing that other shit, I'm not gonna be happy.
The other scandal going around, and I'm using that word scandal loosely, is the fact that, well, it looks like the D23 exclusive poster for the Rise of Skywalker kind of scanned the hot toy of the Emperor, and everyone's saying, "Oh, look, it ripped off Hot Toys." But it's like, last time I checked, Star Wars and Lucasfilm owned the likeness to the Emperor, not Hot Toys. And also, I don't think those D23 exclusive posters, they're for the fans that attend. That's not a theatrical poster, so they're not really like.
Yeah, but you can't really say that it's just for D23 attendees because they released it online first. So they still.
But it is a D23 exclusive poster, though, right?
It is a D20. Yeah, no, it is a D23 exclusive poster. But what I mean by that is saying it's only for that. You know what I mean? Like,
no. I'm not downplaying it. It's a big deal. That I own the poster. Actually, I was there, and it looks beautiful. But what I'm saying,
okay, you were there. Fine. Let me ask you this then, because you were boots on the ground and you weren't live streaming like you were supposed to.
Well, they were confiscating phones.
I know. For those of you guys who don't know, the Friday during the Disney Plus panel, like Disney's like no live streaming, and like one dude live streamed the entire thing, and I actually stream sniped him and had like 1,300 people watching. It was crazy. But then the next morning for the Walt Disney one, nothing. So,
well, I could tell you what happened though.
Yeah. Well, okay, happened? Sorry. Well, yeah. So let me ask you this then, because now we got that factual shit out of the way. What was like the energy like in the room when they started bringing everybody out? I mean, I know this is Disney diehards, but
the MVPs were definitely Kathleen Kennedy, and I don't care. That's just the truth. The first and Lucasfilm, that's what everybody wanted. And Disney knew that's what everyone wanted, especially for Disney Plus. That's why they kept it towards the end, because they knew that was the money shot. Kathleen Kennedy, I've heard a lot of people criticize her about reading the teleprompter. Well, guess what? Number one, they all read teleprompters. I'm there looking at exactly what they're going to say before they even say it. Number two, Lucasfilm is not used to this excessive releasing a lot of stuff at once. So she's trying not to mess up shit because, basically this is all new to Lucasfilm. They're making a lot of stuff and she doesn't want to mess it up. And then the next day for the films, The Rock stole the show too with Jungle Cruise. He did a spectacular entrance. And again, but they started off with Star Wars, and there was no teleprompter for a lot of it. Kathleen Kennedy spoke from the heart and blessed, the projects that people are releasing now under Jon Favreau and J.J. Abrams. Now, I was there. That's what I saw. There was a lot of from the heart on Saturday with J.J. and Kathleen Kennedy. No teleprompter. The teleprompter was off at that time. That's what I saw. Honest to God.
Okay. But I mean, like,
yeah, so,
well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like kind of like going to Celebration, anyone could walk out on stage and people could be like, oh my God. So, I mean, it's one of those weird things, but I mean, this was
Tom Holland and The Rock.
Yeah. Well, Tom Holland got
everyone
a pretty large,
and everybody after Kevin Feige completed his presentation, people were kind of like, what the F, is that it? Because Lucasfilm went right before him. So, or at least a couple of presentations before him. So people were like, well, is that it for Lucasfilm? And well, they expected Lucasfilm only to announce Star Wars 9, but with Kevin Feige, some reporters were thinking they were going to get more. And they're like, that's it? So the money shot on Saturday was Frozen. That's what, the entire show was gearing towards at the end. So it was great, man. It was a fun experience. It's a little long It's like 2 hour panel and stuff. But Lucasfilm is dominating the news after D23, unless I'm missing something. And you can't I'm not saying but you can't make video after video talking about how no one cares, but everyone cares. It's like, is the sky blue or not?
Well, again, I think a lot of times when it comes to people trying to say like no one cares, I get that in comment sections, right? These random accounts that look like they've probably been designed like the day before, no avatars, nothing like that. They're like, no one cares about Star Wars anymore. And I'm all like, that's not true, dude. I care. And a lot of other people fucking care too. I think there's people out there that just like, they don't want to care about it because like for whatever reason, or they're just controlled opposition. Like it's entirely possible. This is a tinfoil theory that DC is running an attack on Star Wars. Flooding negative social media. No, think about it. Flooding negative social media stories as a way to get people to try to not go see that, but then really try to go see DC products. We got Joker. Joker's coming out in a couple weeks. And you never know, man. They could be going like, we need to take away from some of that Star Wars money.
No, Warner Brothers right now is pushing, that it Chapter 2.
Yeah,
it's gonna be close to $1 billion. They're having a great time right now at the premiere. There's a lot of people.
Wait, you think it Chapter 2 is going to get close to $1 billion?
$1 billion, yeah. Well, the first one made like 7 or 8 billion. So I think the second one is running on the hype for the first one. So yeah, it's definitely going to be around 800 million. And for a horror movie, that's ridiculous. I mean, horror movies are, Halloween, right? Considered a classic. One of the biggest horror movies. I think it's only like past 100 million. Like a little bit, like 120 or something like that.
It Chapter 1 box office was 704 million. So that's that's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it Chapter 2 is going to
movie. That's
I would say both part 1 and part 2 are going to gross over like $1 billion, maybe 1.5, maybe 1.5.
I'm going 800 billion. I'm going 800 billion, 800 million for it Chapter 2.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm predicting. But all these studios, they work with each other. It's not as bad as the fans think. The people they switch employees. People who used to work at Warner Brothers work for Disney. People that worked at Disney worked at Sony, and they're all the same people.
I love it when I get press contact emails, and they're like, "Oh, I'm no longer at this agency. I'm going over to this agency." They all work. They all work together quite a bit. Well, hey man, I got people waiting in the Discord, so I'm gonna let you go.
Matt, thanks for having me on, man. I'm glad to see the people on there. Please hit the subscribe button. If you're not, hit the notification bell. You got some good videos up, and that like button, because there's a lot of people watching and only 30 likes, I think there is, or 25 likes. So let's get that like button up. Talk to you later, Matt. I'm gonna watch.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. I'll talk to you later, dude. Okay. It's my cheerleader, ladies and gentlemen. No, he's a solid guy. He's a good dude. All right. I'm going to drag in Tony from the Discord. I saw that there was somebody else in there as well. You guys can always join me up. Okay. Star Killer, I see you. I'll be getting you next. What's going on, Tony? How you doing, man? What's on your mind?
Hello there.
Hello there.
I have a question for you.
I might have an answer.
Although
I have.
Anyway, in light of all this excitement about Star Wars, and then there was a brief mention of the Boba Fett film earlier.
Yeah.
Do you think Solo ever actually did damage to the anthology film? I granted.
Yeah. No, it did. It did.
Granted.
Go ahead.
Granted, its failure was no fault of its own. Of course, I acknowledge that, but just broadly speaking, did it actually do damage?
Yeah, broadly speaking, it did do damage. I also agree with you that there was no, it wasn't through its own fault, obviously, right? Like if you guys were listening last week, there was a guy who called in with an auto-tune thing that like, I think it was to like the fucking Tetris soundtrack. So like he would talk and it would try to auto-tune. It was so crazy. It was very hard to like talk to him. Anyway, he was trying to argue that Solo had lost money because it was like, a bad movie. And I argued that its release timing had a lot to do with it. So what people don't realize when they're discussing Solo is that Solo's original release date, May 25th, 2018, was 2018. I had to fucking think. I don't even know what year it is anymore. But originally Deadpool 2 was set to come out the week after it. And then Avengers was set to open the first week of May. And that was the original thing, right? It was going to be Avengers and then 3 weeks later Solo. Well, they moved Avengers up to the last week of August or of April. And in order to give Avengers more time, but they didn't move Solo from Memorial Day up a week. They kept it where it is. Deadpool through Fox, even though the talks were already happening of the Disney buyout, wanted to get as much money as it could for Deadpool. So it moved it up by 2 weeks. So instead of it being a week after Solo, it now moved to a week before Solo. And when Deadpool 2 dropped, it made $88 million its opening weekend. And then it went into the next weekend where it had about a 50% drop to $44 million. Solo made about $83 million in its opening weekend on Memorial Day weekend. And then the next week after that, Solo dropped about to another $40 million. Neither movie hit $100 million on this opening weekend. Both movies could have, in my opinion, provided that they actually came out at different times. Solo didn't need to be a Memorial Day. It could have been, it could have done well like in June or something. It just Memorial Day was a bad time. But at the same time, had Deadpool not come out when it came out and not been direct competition to Solo, which it absolutely was. I don't know why that last caller was trying to argue that it wasn't. Not the other guy from last week, but it was absolutely direct competition. And if it wouldn't have siphoned another $44 million away, the likelihood of Solo crossing that $100 million line be pretty high, which then would have put it into a success range versus a flop. And then that could have potentially done better for it in the long run. But again, summer movie seasons are far too crowded these days. And so as a result of a number of things like The Last Jedi not being very well received in certain areas, then all the negative talk about Solo based upon the controversy from 2017 and the firing of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, it was kind of a negative cocktail. And it did damage anthology films because they've decided to just not do them. They've instead moved them down to the streaming shows, which I think is a better option. At the end of the day, I think that's a better option.
Now, there are also people who took their anger out on The Last Jedi by doing so with Solo and boycotting it. Do you think that had an effect on it too?
Yes, I do. And I would normally not say that. But the reason why I do say that predominantly is because right before Solo came out, I went up to go see a friend of mine that I had not seen in a number of years. And he was from California. He actually lives like 40 minutes away from me now, which is awesome. So I'm up at his place and we're talking about movies. And I'm like, hey man, he's a huge Star Wars nut. It's like, so are you excited for Solo? And he goes like, no, not really. And I'm like, really? That's weird because you're huge in Star Wars. And he goes, yeah. It's like, I didn't like The Last Jedi. And he's like, all I'm hearing about Solo is that it sucks. And I'm like, well, where are you hearing it from? And he's like, I'm hearing it from the internet. I'm like, yeah, but the internet hasn't seen it yet. And he goes, yeah, I know, but I'm still hearing it. So you keep in mind, there's a, psychologically speaking, the more you tell somebody information, the repetition, right? Everything is learned through repetition. The more you tell somebody something, the more likely they are to believe it. And the more people that go out there and they make like, all these articles and tweets and videos, Solo's a failure. It's a bomb. It's a bomb before it even came out. Disney run it to the ground. People start to believe it after a while. And again, people try to then associate it. Go, oh, it's not my Star Wars. It's Disney Star Wars. That's the enemy. Right. And so there's a lot of these kind of things that happen with it. And yeah, I think it had a direct impact on Solo, because I think people who saw The Last Jedi, who didn't like The Last Jedi, took it out on Solo by not going to see it or support it in theaters. But like I've said before, I've talked to so many people that once Solo hit Netflix and they watched it for the first time, they were like, you know what? It wasn't the greatest movie ever, but goddamn, it was actually pretty good. And they totally changed their mind once they saw it. Once they were able to get away from all that negativity online surrounding it, or their negativity aimed at The Last Jedi, and finally enjoy it for what it is, they found themselves in a better position. That's my experience with it.
Makes sense.
So that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of what I see. Safety here in the chat says I've never seen Solo. Safety, dude, go see it, man. It's on Netflix right now. It's going to be on Disney Plus here pretty soon. It's good.
I've probably mentioned this before, but I actually showed my dad Solo a few months ago, and he actually really liked it. And bear in mind, he's more of on the Trek side of things. He says he likes Star Wars, but I've always known him to be more like Star Trek. So, but even then, he said he really liked it.
Yeah. Well, Robo P here says I saw it and it was okay, but it could have been better. Rogue One was the better side story movie. Dude, 100% Rogue One was a better movie. It's 100% a better film. Neither movie is bad. Both movies are pretty good. But yeah, I love Rogue One. Like Cassian Andor has me hyped because I really enjoyed Cassian Andor and K2SO's chemistry in Rogue One. They were, the good interactions. So yeah, it's like they can do these good side stories. They can do these good non-Skywalker specific stories. And I think they're going to do better coming into it with like a 6 to 8 episode season of a show or a miniseries on a show. I think we're going to be okay.
Do you think it was ever fair game that people are giving crap to Alden Ehrenreich because, oh no, he needed an acting coach or whatever?
Again, that's one of those things where it's kind of hearsay, and acting coaches are not uncommon on set. And, and he spent a lot of time talking with Harrison Ford. So he got it down. He like Harrison Ford gave him the approval at the end of it. And now granted, you could argue, well, Harrison Ford had said, it doesn't really matter what Harrison Ford says because he's, is he even going to give a shit anymore? That sort of thing. I don't know. But again, the way I personally see it is they're fun films. Solo was a fun movie. It got fucked over by The Last Jedi. And because they announced a Boba Fett movie the day before Solo came out. James Mangold from Logan is doing, fuck, you're like, Logan was a great movie. And then that gets silently canceled. And, but hey, at least we're getting The Mandalorian. I mean, it's tangible. We've seen the trailer, the teaser trailer. It looks great. We've seen that these things are happening. So I think we're in a good position. I think we're in a really good position to kind of finally take the franchise back. Well, all right. Well, hey man, I'm gonna let you go.
For my questions, huh?
Oh, well, there's more questions. Do you have another question?
Oh, it's just in. Thank you.
Oh, no, hey man, thanks for coming in, dude. I know you're always hanging out in the chat. I see you. I appreciate you watching, and we'll definitely talk again soon. Okay.
All right, see you soon.
See you, man.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right, I'm bringing Star Killer. Hey, what's up, Star Killer? How you doing, man?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, maybe not here. You maybe cut out a little bit. Okay. What's on your mind, buddy?
Nothing much, man. It's the Star Wars stuff.
Always.
What I think about this Rey and all this Death Star broken, or I think from the first time I saw Force Awakens, Rey's a clone, 100%, and she's gonna be like Luke in Empire Strikes Back. Like how Luke looks through the woods, like sees himself.
I see that. No, there's a theory I heard earlier about the clone thing. Because if you think about it for a second, right? If you think about it for a second, when Kylo he uses his Force vision to see her parents. Right? This is an interesting theory. This could work. And he says they're nothing. They're paupers, right?
Yeah.
They died in a pauper's grave. They were nobody.
Yeah.
So they sold her.
When you see the cave, tells multiple rays. So that means it's a clone.
Yeah.
You can't. It's a clone. What else can it be?
Well, no. That is a good idea. That is a good idea. So Palpatine cloned himself in the fallen Death Star.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, because Rey's only like 18, 19 years old, and this is 30 years past the events of the Emperor dying. So it's like, at some cloning technology was already a thing. Was it an embryo that was like found? Did they find her like little baby Superman?
Yeah,
You know,
who knows?
is that gonna be what happens? They find her under a rock somewhere and they see her moving it around and shit. But no, then she
Wait,
ended up being sold off for change in Jakku,
yeah.
and
You know
then
when
they
you
died. So
you know when you see Ray as from the dark side, do you see her hand?
no, but I have screenshots. I'll bring a
Yeah.
screenshot up here.
If you see her hand on her left hand, she has a ring. She has a ring on the
Oh
right.
yeah. I did
She
hear
has a
about
ring.
that. Yeah,
That ring could be Snoke's ring. Hopefully, Snoke's ring.
it could be Snoke's ring.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get really any look at it outside of
Yeah. You
it's
you see the shape of it.
you
See
see
the shape.
something is on her hand. It could be a wrap. It could be a ring.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is though, it's like it could be Daisy's twin sister. You know, it could be whatever. But I mean, clearly this looks like RoboCop Ray. You know what I mean? This looks
Yeah.
like the Ray that's gonna go dead or alive. You're coming with me, sort
Yeah.
of thing. And I could see that. I could see that being
And
a crazy
and
thing.
Ray's lightsaber, the double lightsaber, like kind of like Darth Maul's, that's really based through the Rebels episode. If you watch Rebels, there's episode when what's his name goes through the past. He meets with one of the legendary High
Oh,
Jedi's.
I think that's in like season 4, which I haven't
Yeah,
seen yet.
yeah.
I
If you
know. I
watch
feel
that
bad.
part and you see exactly the same lightsaber, a twist when it twists like a nunchuck and she lifts it, exactly the same, like Maul's.
Yeah, it looks great though.
So,
I mean, it looks fantastic. Like when it dropped down and became like the dual saber like that, I literally like jumped back in my chair.
yeah,
I was like, whoa.
I would prefer it if it's like normal lightsaber, two-sided, just like if it was like not a Maul's lightsaber, I would mind better than the twist and then yeah, straight.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it's going to be cool. I think JJ is going to like really try to bring
And
that.
the C-3PO, like the red eyes, the Terminator eyes, I call it the Terminator eyes. I think he has like a file, like unknown files, like they unlocked through the body of droid. I think.
Possibly. I just want to see him get the bolt caster if that particular poster was real.
Yeah, that poster is real. That leaked post, that's
Well,
real.
why didn't they give that away at D23?
I don't know.
That would have been cool.
That's a real one. I knew it was real when I first saw it.
Well, he had the red arm in that, and he didn't have a red arm in The Last Jedi. So
Yeah.
I don't quite know how that's going to play out. I mean, either way, like I mean, the red arm is not it. You know, it seemed like a mystery not worth explaining. To be
Yeah.
fair, it
and,
really
and
did.
the ships they are Palpatine ships from the Outer Rim.
Yeah, they're definitely going to do, I think, a lot. I mean, if you notice, like the stories tend to be around the Outer Rim, where most of the stories
Yeah.
are. So because
If you
it's kind of the more interesting aspects of Star Wars.
if you play the story, the DLC story for Battlefront 2, um, Jyn Erso's daughter goes to the Outer Rim.
Wait,
And
they have a DLC like what single
yeah,
player for?
yeah, single player, yeah. And in the story, she goes through the Outer Rim, and Leia says to her to meet someone special, like to set up something.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, and that I think that's going to connect a lot between Rise of Skywalker and the game.
Maybe. I mean, you know, EA is desperate to make it.
Yeah,
Is desperate to make it work, considering the
I'm
fact that
just
instead of doing a third Battlefront, they're
yeah.
doing.
I'm still thinking not to watch Rise of Skywalker at the movies. Like I'm gonna watch it maybe after a week, in 2 weeks after it comes out. Like I'm gonna wait for the reviews.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
not going to go see it right away.
Nah, no, I wasted so much money on Force Awakens, Rogue One. and Last Jedi, but Rogue One was my favorite one. I wasted on. That's my favorite. I put my money on.
Ah, well, I mean, if you're spending money, spend your money. Like, you might as well just go
Yeah.
and see it right away. That way, everyone else can talk about it.
Obi-Wan and Mandalorian, all my money. I'm gonna sign up for my Disney Plus. I'll be watching Obi-Wan and Mandalorian. Cannot wait. Those two are gonna be hype for me.
Yeah, yeah. I think I those are the shows I'm gonna definitely watch. But hey man, I got some more people in the general chat. I'm gonna let you go. But hey, thanks for coming in, and we'll talk again soon. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Thanks. All right. Since I'm gonna bring in Cougar, since Voice of the Emperor is already in here. Hey, what's up, Cougar? How you doing, man?
Oh, hey, Matt. I just wanted again to say, because you know me, I'm going to be opposition because, if it's just one, fun time. All right. I care about Star Wars, but I seriously think I outright refuse to go see anything that's been released after Last Jedi for like the next 4 things, because it's just they need to be known where they screwed up, and the only way they're going to learn is if they get hit in the wallet. They won't learn if they don't get it any other way.
Well, they did with Solo. To be fair,
I mean,
they learned. They changed their entire strategy after that.
Yeah, but then they went back and did when they did like. Let's be fair. This whole dark ray. Come on.
It's a force vision.
It's going to be a dream sequence. It's going to be a dream.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong. Or it could be a clone. We don't know. It could be, if the theory of Rey being a clone, it would tie into some of the greater aspects of the EU, which is what diehard fans want to see anyway. Because in the EU is when you find out the Emperor cloned himself. He didn't die, he cloned himself. And that could be a thing. I mean, so if they're tying in bits of the EU, and we know that in regards to the EU, JJ and Lawrence Kasdan in The Force Awakens tried to pull in elements of that in order to make it official canon, knowing that fans weren't very happy with Disney pulling the plug on the EU in order to create their own. We know that this feels like they spend more time pulling in elements from the EU and even Rebels by bringing in Thrawn than their own new canon that they pay people to write. They still pull from the old canon because they know they need it. So, I mean, I think
I think when people judge us, like everyone, like, I don't know. I look at this new the new trilogy, which makes me cringe saying that. We had Force Awakens, which was okay. It was, and honestly, it was below average for me. And the only reason why I gave it a below average, where everyone was giving it high, was because it was a reboot. It was just skin for skin of New Hope with new characters. Like,
I'd say calling it skin for skin is maybe a little bit disingenuous. It did have elements pulled from A New Hope.
Star Killer base. They literally start on a planet that's of sand.
No. I'm not saying there weren't elements of it. What you have to understand here, what you have to understand is look at it from the aspect of reintegrating people. So
I get that. I give it points for that. But then we go into The Last Jedi, and this is where I'm like everybody knows Empire Strikes Back from the original trilogy is the best out of the 3, and you can fight me on that. I don't care.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on that.
Somehow they found a way to screw that remake up, because it was kind of like a little bit of a reshot of that too, but like in reverse.
Well, there was elements of the Empire Strikes Back as well as Return of the Jedi in The Last Jedi. Yeah.
Well, what I saw The Last Jedi is if you played Empire Strikes Back literally in reverse, where they start, because the ending is they end in space, and then the beginning is they're on the snow planet. Well, Last Jedi, they start in space, but they end on that salts planet or whatever the hell it was. I don't know.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And they're literally having an at battle. I mean, come on. Like, I can take much, but it's like think of original stuff. I would give actually Last Jedi more points if they just didn't rip off like Like, how do you screw up Empire? Like, how do you screw up Empire?
Well, you go to, a casino planet that nobody wants you to go to. That's really
and
about
then you
it.
make Leia into Superman.
God, I hate that. No, I really, really hate that. Like, have you guys watching? Have you seen the fucking Superman cut of that? Like, okay, was it Darth Devo Knievel here says the throne room scene in The Last Jedi was one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars. Honestly, no, I won't disagree with you. It was very well done. Every time we were in the throne room, from the beginning of the film to the end of the film, was always a really well done scene, and it was really good. I liked it quite a bit, but the fight scene was good. Snoke's death in the proper, if it would have happened that way, like in a satisfying manner, it would have been better.
Yeah. The fight scene was good, but the payoff, the climax, was just like, it's like, like it was like a virgin had his first time. It just was like, it was just like so unsatisfying.
I have a budget. I'm just gonna cum tribute all over everything. So all I'm gonna do is just jizz on it like a 15-year-old spider monkey.
They did him Darth Maul style. Like, come on, Darth Maul deserved it better too. Like, why you gotta, like, and actually, at least you got to see Darth Maul get chopped in half. You don't even get to see Snoke get chopped in half. It kind of like happens after the fact. Like the cut happens, but you don't see the actual cut.
I think I think they realized they made a lot of mistakes with The Last Jedi. I do. And I think that's one of the reasons why Colin Trevorrow couldn't make it work, because he was already in the process of writing his script and working on everything by the time before it even came out. And then he saw it, and I think he went like, I can't make this work, because he says there's a quote there. Hold on. There's a quote there where he says that I got to share my vision with George Lucas and Luke Skywalker, not Mark Hamill, but he says Luke Skywalker, meaning Luke would have lived in his movie.
Yeah. Well, but I'll tell you this. If for some miracle reason that it happens, and I'll ask you when the movie comes out, because I'll refuse to go see the movie. If Luke happens to be in the 6th movie some way, I will go see it. But he has to be in physical form, not ghosty form. I want him in like it was, he didn't actually die, because we didn't actually see him die. We just all assume he died. So if they play out that theory that he didn't actually die, I will go see the new movie. But outside of that, nope. They killed off too many legacy characters, and you can't exactly CGI Leia into the 6th movie, which I don't get why they just didn't. That's what the Superman scene pisses me off. Because why couldn't they just let her die? They knew she was going. It's not like they couldn't fix it, because they were still shooting when she died. Like, they could have given her. No, they'd
already finished shooting the movie when she passed away.
It's just like,
but they could have gone and done reshoots.
Yeah.
But I think at that time though, it was one of those. It was a very tough moment. Think of it like this: think of the fan reaction to The Last Jedi, where Carrie Fisher wasn't treated with some respect. Where they went in there and they go, okay, we're gonna kill her off here, which I thought they were gonna do when I saw the movie, right? Like when that scene happened and she closed her eyes, I thought she was gonna die. I thought she was gonna be, I'm like, oh, this is it. I'm prepping myself for it being it. And then she opened her eyes in space, and I audibly just went, what? Like in the theater, I just went, what? Like real loud, and
you should have heard the theater. Like the theater was packed in mine, and there was just all the dudes in the room were just, you could just hear the audible groan in the theater. We all just kidding, in the entire theater. They was just like, seriously, honestly. I think if they would have just killed her off there, it wouldn't have been so bad. If they would have just let her die. I know that's sad, is sad and shit, but know what? If there's one silver lining to the whole Last Jedi thing, Carrie Fisher at least died before she got to see the movie. I know it's an effed up joke, but it's true.
Yeah, well, I think if Carrie Fisher would have been alive still, we wouldn't be also necessarily in this position, because then no one would be talking about how does she survive? How does she live? How does her character live on now that she's passed? We wouldn't be having that conversation. It'd be entirely different. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's like I like to ask myself what's going to happen if the movie's good.
I do think if she was alive and they still had that scene, because I think that's why we also remember that scene more, is because Carrie Fisher is dead. It's more notable now. But I also think that if she was
it was notable
alive,
in general, man. Because again, you're
it's
like,
meme.
what?
It's me.
It's just like, let me see if I can find that. I have the
honestly,
video clip of it.
Yeah, I know it's in voice, by the way. If you want to go check, it's
no.
Still...
I've got the actual file here on my computer. I'll play it for everybody because you guys got to see this shit. Let me find it. This is this clip that I've got when I
gonna make you laugh your ass off. Me and Matt were in VC the other day, and we all just died about laughing listening to this.
Oh, I didn't accidentally delete it, did I? I don't think I did. Come on.
If not, it's still in.
No. There it is. Let's see if it wants to play. There we go. Let me bring this up on. Okay, yeah. Let me just. All right, so yeah, here, watch this, you guys. You won't be able to see it, man, but you know how it is.
I know how it is.
Okay, so this is from what I got home from seeing the movie on December 14th or whatever, 2017. I saw this clip right away, and it made me feel a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, that was the clip, and it's just oh my god.
You just bust out laughing every time. It's
every
just impossible. Time. It's impossible not to.
I've had that sitting in this folder, my primary image folder, for almost 2 years, and every time I go to clear it out of old stuff, I leave that clip there as a reminder, as to why that movie is so shit. And such just so shit. And that scene was fucking hysterical because it's just the way that they designed it. And it's just.
And the worst part is it's not only just the fact that it's a Superman thing, but it's just it just looks bad. It's not even good CGI. So you can't even defend it in a way of, well, at least it looks good. No. It was they couldn't even get the effects on it good. So it's not even you can't even give it. There's just no way to make it into a good scene. It's just a crap scene.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Voice of the Emperor says that it's not scientifically possible for what we saw to happen. But they have Force ghosts and laser swords. We really don't know the extent of what. I mean. Well, in that movie too, if Luke was able to force doppelganger himself.
Hold on 1 sec, Matt. I will defend the lightsabers because they actually said, because I watched a Marvel's episode on the History Channel, which, by the way, if I ever find it again, I'll send it to you. They did all the technology of Star Wars if it was possible. And lightsabers are possible. It's just that if you go to try and pick one up, you're going to burn your hands off because they're so damn hot. Like they have actual lightsabers, but you can't, pick them up yet because unless you want to like, it's like the equivalent of going and trying to pick up like a cup of lava. You're gonna literally melt your hand.
Yeah.
But
it's just funny. It's just really goddamn funny. I mean, like, there's a lot of things, you got to remember. This is science fiction or science fantasy, really.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Star Wars. There's nothing wrong with the technology in it. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. It's more or less like the way it should have been treated. Like Leia getting blown out into space. If Admiral Akbar died, why did Leia live? And there was no force field around her.
Exactly.
There was like nothing that we could see, no tangible thing. Like Rian Johnson, I think that was the moment you've kind of known. That was like 30 minutes into the movie that you kind of know that shit's going down.
Well, for me, it felt like, no offense, like they were trying to like make it up as they went along, and then they're just like, here, we're just gonna put an Empire reference here, and maybe a little here, little New Hope reference here and here, make the nostalgia go, but that's what it felt like. You know what it felt like? I think the reason why people hate it so much is the same reason why people hate Ghostbusters 2016 is because literally they just ham-fist some good old, nostalgia in places, and nobody likes, a movie that's just based on nostalgia. They want, good story with nostalgia, not just nostalgia.
Yeah. I would like there to be. I think once this movie's over, I think at this point, we as fans, we also just kind of want for this movie to be done and over with, so then we can finally be done with it. And that's the saddest thing about that is that should never be the case.
Yeah, you should want more. And right now, I don't want Disney to ever touch the trilogy or whatever the frig it is now, again, whatever the 9 films are now. We're just gonna call it the 6 because the 3 at the end, they just don't exist anymore. We're just like Disney can't retcon it, but the fans can retcon it.
Real quick, so I played that Superman the score on this, and I just got a thing from YouTube. Heads up, we've detected copyrighted audio and video in your stream. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. So this may go down. But hey, man. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go to give people a chance to call on in.
All right, man.
So thanks a lot. We'll talk again later on, man. Have yourself a good one.
All right, good bet.
All right. Late. Okay. So we got you guys can call in. Let me just make sure that's active now. That's open. If anyone wants to call, I'll be on maybe like another 20 minutes, something like that. I played that clip, and then they're like, you played the Superman theme song. Clearly, irony and satire is lost on goddamn algorithms, which makes sense, to be fair. Makes a whole lot of sense. But it's all good. It's all good, guys. It's pretty fucking funny. Anyway, let's see here. Effing YouTube. I get it. They've got the bots for a reason. I don't profit off of these streams unless people donate or whatever. So it's like it's all good. And I usually hide it. I set it as unlisted. And then I publish it to a playlist. So if you are a playlist, if you are a subscriber to the channel and you go to the front page, you will see the playlist of the episodes, which eventually I should probably end up really working on, like, a lot of other things with them. But getting like, specific thumbnails made, because I never know. I just start talking to people. Let's see. The sequel trilogy is a fan film that's terrible and it sucks. So you've retconned it in your own mind. I get your whole point there, Echo-based network, but it's also the reality that we live in. It is the reality. So, you can choose to accept it or not accept it. That's fine. Either way you want to do it. But things are clearly different than when they were under Lucas. Under Lucas, we weren't getting any real Star Wars. Books were still coming, but games had slowed down. What was the last one? It was Bounty Hunter on GameCube, if I recall. Yeah, it was one of the last games that came out. We weren't getting a lot of Star Wars games. LucasArts wasn't really producing anything. They were doing a couple things here and there, but not too much. His primary earner was ILM and Skywalker Sound, and he was willing to let Star Wars just kind of die. He was, and then he got really pissed off because of Red Tails, and he sold it to a company that makes content, makes product. So I mean, this is always going to happen. Star Wars was always going to continue on in one way or the other. The thing is, they stumbled out of the gate by not having a plan. And they tried to make it like Marvel, which can work if they have a plan, but they don't have a plan. So where they are now, I feel like they've learned a little bit and they realize that it's kind of scaling things back theatrically and moving in to streaming is a great way to tell longer form stories, to rebuild the fan base and go back. And I think it's fucking brilliant. No, Darth, Red Tails was not brilliant. That movie was bad. Like the scene when like the one dude's flying over that chick's house as she's like doing laundry and they make puppy dog eyes at each other, like as if she would be able to see him for one, and two, he's going slow enough for them to see each other, and then he just remembers where she lives. Roman, I don't know what's going to happen with Indiana Jones 5. Gatekeeper says, I can remember 85 to 95 when there was virtually no Star Wars at all. It was okay. And it's true. Fine. There was a lot of things going on, as there are things going on right now, but that doesn't mean people didn't want it. And the books started coming out in 1990. So, there's that, but there's so many toys that Lucas is selling. Lucas is putting Star Wars on anything. Star Wars catheters, whatever the hell it is, right? Everything. And you could figure out a way to do that. You could figure out a way to really, he was making money on it hand over fist. People wanted more. They've been begging for more. Then he gave them a prequel trilogy and they thought that was good. And they were happy with the prequel trilogy. So from 1994, when it came out that he was working on it, or I think, he started writing it in 1994 to 1999, it being released, to 2005 with the third film coming out, and some video games here and there. People were content, getting a little bit here, a little bit there. People were content, but we live in an age now where that's not a thing. We live in the age of excess in streaming. People want more, and they're willing to fucking pay for it. People were harsh on the prequels, right? People were really harsh on the prequels. Let's see. Tony says, I think he was also worn down by constant criticisms regarding. Yeah, there's that too. Lucas went from being revered as a god to like the fucking theatrical jester, and just the butt of every joke just got to him. Fuck it. I don't really blame him. Imagine if Sony got the Star Wars rights. Yeah, that'd be pretty bad. But hey, at least EA wouldn't have the fucking the video game rights. Odd the Podling says we literally became bullies towards Lucas. Yeah, I agree. People did. I never did, but people did. I enjoyed Lucas. I always enjoyed his mysticism. I always enjoyed his approach to things. I like that. And Strange Magic. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. That one came out in, I want to say, early 2015. We had it at or I saw the trailer for it when it came out. Yeah, it came out early 2015. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. Let's see. Socks Bulletins here says, I admire Lucas for what he did with special editions and the prequels. I love those 6 great movies. I do too, man. I don't know if I'd say the special edition. I still prefer the despecialized editions, to be honest with you. But I don't dislike the special editions. I just prefer the originals. If I ever met George Lucas, no, I haven't met George Lucas. If I ever met him, I don't know what I would ask him. I think I'd be really fucking nervous. I'd be like, God damn it, George, why don't you work with Spielberg on a third Tintin movie, you motherfucker? Or even a second Tintin movie. What if Kevin Feige took over for Kathleen Kennedy? I think that would be for the best. And honestly, I think that's going to happen. I don't have any reason to back that up. I think Feige's kind of peaked at Marvel, if I'm being fair. I think he's kind of peaked. Not that he's against it, not that he doesn't want to work on it, but I think he's peaked. And when he goes and he wants to do other things, you know, I think that's one of the reasons why Spider-Man was so important to him, because it was something different. So I think he would want to you move over, and if he got the opportunity to go and reboot Star Wars or do that, I think it'd be good. I don't think. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing with Dave Filoni. It's kind of two issue thing. One, yes, he would be very good at kind of overseeing Star Wars, but Filoni is a creative guy. And creative people don't necessarily do very well in executive positions, because executive positions often are the ones making the hard calls. They're the ones that are saying yes, no, budgets, meetings, oversight, everything. They make the hard call. Do you want to effectively, and this is true, do you want to cage a songbird? You don't really want to do that. And that's kind of what would happen. I know that sounds weird, but it's basically what would happen. He does really well on his own, in the realms that he works, in cartoons and animation and telling stories. He said this in the featurette that they showed he said this at the Mandalorian. He goes like, I've wanted to get into live action. I was talking to Kathleen Kennedy about getting into live action, and we pitched the Mandalorian. So that's that. So it's kind of like, you know, he wants to do live action. He's directing the pilot, or he directed the pilot of The Mandalorian, and he directed episode 5. And he was clearly involved in the writing of the scripts and the production of the show and the oversight of the show and everything else. So this dude gets Star Wars. This dude understands Star Wars. So when all of these fandom menace people start crying about how they want more Star Wars that's good, and you're like, well, yeah, the fucking Mandalorian. And they're like, well, I don't know, it's Disney Star Wars. But Filoni has got 2 fingers knuckle deep in that motherfucker. He's willing to press on the prostate a little bit. And people are like still kind of fucking talking shit. Like, you're never happy. That's the way I view it. And Roman here is right. Filoni is a fan. I don't want Filoni running Lucasfilm. I want Filoni overseeing and being hands-on like Kevin Feige, the producer of Star Wars. I think that's where he would be okay. But he would have to be able to work on his projects as well. But he would need to co-produce, kind of like Jeff Johns running DC films. You know, he greenlit Aquaman. Aquaman's already out, but he helped with Shazam, and he helped with Aquaman, and those movies turned out great. And I think Filoni would do the same thing. I do. I think Kathleen Kennedy, if she wants to oversee Lucasfilm as a company, would be fine. She knows how to oversight these things, and she knows how to back a good idea when she sees it. I mean, The Last Jedi notwithstanding. Although it's entirely possible that the way Rian Johnson pitched it is just 100% opposite than how it turned out. So, Kevin Feige is a Star Wars fan, 100%. Lem's Films, I forget, dude. I think it's like a Blade Runner cinematograph. It's just a cinematograph that I found. Eventually, I want to get to something a little bit different, but I really enjoyed this one. I can't tell you where I found it, but it looks cool. It's calming to me. I love it. Let's see here. Odd the Podling says, remember when people came out after watching The Phantom Menace and they were excited? I wish I could get back to that. Dude, I wish I could get back to that too. I wish I could go back to 1999, being a plucky 17-year-old, right? Coming out of seeing the Phantom Menace at 2:00 in the morning or 2:30 in the morning. And then like my mom picking me up because I didn't have a car at the time. And then she's all like, how'd you like the movie? And I'm like, oh my God, they fucking had pod racing. By the way, I was physically assaulted while we were in line, but that's not the point. The point is pod racing. And let me tell you about a dude named Jar Jar. Remember when we all liked Jar Jar? You guys remember that? Remember when we all liked Jar Jar? Not so much anymore, I guess. Anyway, yeah, it'd be nice to go back to that time. Tom Holland in Star Wars. What do I think? Dude, fucking, he's going to be in. You kidding me? As soon as Tom Holland is done with his Spider-Man contract through Sony, he'll be over at like Disney in a heartbeat. He'll be over. He'll be a new character. He'll be Peter Blarker, all right, or Peter Tingle, or something in the new movies. He'll be over. No one ever liked Jar Jar. No, people really like Jar Jar. Robert, yeah, I was actually attacked during the while I was waiting for the Phantom Menace. Yeah, I had I'll quickly recap the story. One of my friends who I've known since the 4th grade was helping out another friend of his whose sister had just been dumped. We were juniors. She was a freshman. She was dating a senior. He asked her to go to prom, you know, as a way to like make her feel better because this guy she loved had just dumped her before prom and he wanted to like do the noble thing. And I don't think he was looking to get any action or anything else because as we later find out he's gay, but that's irrelevant to the story. Though, so he pays for everything. He pays for the limousine. He pays for the tickets, the corsage, the dinner, everything. They get to the dance. She spends like 5 minutes with him and then goes and gets together with her ex-boyfriend, leaving him by himself for the whole night. The dude is a nice person, offering to help his friend out, help his friend's sister out, and she ditches him. And so me, being the supportive friend that I am and the very vocal friend that I am, made a couple of choice words to her on more than one occasion. And then just so happened that she was at, and the thing is, I had made some choice comments, and when her brother and another friend of mine went to go get midnight tickets for Star Wars, I couldn't be there with them to go and get the tickets because I went and saw Eminem. That's right. I went and saw Eminem in concert, his first tour that I recall. And so I gave my friend the tickets. I gave my friend the money to get me a 1201 show. Big THX auditorium. Well, because I had insulted the other dude's sister, that dude bought me tickets for 1201. Like a bitch. I didn't know about that at the time. As I found out when I got to the theater to wait for 6 hours in order to go in and get a good seat, I had discovered that I had been bamboozled. They told me they got me the 1201 because the 1203 because the 1201 was sold out. Sorry. It was a lie, as I found out later on. Anyway, so my friend who was in line with the brother, not the prom guy, different friend. He was there with that dude's sister. They're playing a video game or something. And I went over to say hey to my friend real quick. And she said something to me and I said something back to her. She didn't like it. I start walking away in front of like several hundred people. She comes outside. She thought she was a little hard ass. So she comes outside. She jumps on my back like a fucking spider monkey. She punches me like 5 times in the back of the head. And it doesn't hurt. And I just kind of like push her off me and like go about my business, you know. And I go up to Subway, get dinner. And whatever. And I'm trying to figure out like what the fuck just happened. Because like none of it hurt. It was like none of it hurt. I didn't even know how to respond. I'm like, okay. Like if that was like how she attacks people, that's sad. But I also have a very hard skull. Like the last dude who punched me in the head broke his hand. So that's how hard of a skull I have. But anyway. So what happened? So I got assaulted. And then as everyone was lining up to go in and see the movie, you know, to go in and see the 1201 show and the big 650 seat THX auditorium, which is what I wanted. I'm sitting there going like, well, I'll go see the 1203 show. It's going to be smaller screen, but whatever. Then I forgot. Oh yeah. You know what? I used to work at this theater. Like the summer before I worked at the theater. So I still know all these assholes that fucking work there. And I went over to talk to like my former boss and other coworker who were checking tickets at the door for the THX, and they had heard what happened. So they're like, hey man, we heard you got your ass beat by a chick. I'm like, I didn't get my ass beat by a chick. She fucking hit me. She took me by surprise, Sucker punched me a couple times. I tossed her off. No big fucking deal. Whatever, man. I'm like, yeah, I got your ass beat by a chick. And I'm like, whatever. And then in that moment, it dawned on me. Like, wait a minute. I'm going to turn this into a win. I'm going to turn this into a W for good old Matt. So I just said, all right, well, fuck you both. And I walked into the theater. They never checked my ticket. They were supposed to check my ticket. That was their goddamn job because they sucked. They were drunk half the fucking time. And I know this. So anyway, I walk in. I find where the group of people were at. You know, they know that they didn't buy me the right ticket. So I had to be very sneaky and get around them. So I got around them and I found a seat, about maybe, a third of the way back from the screen. Keep in mind, this is like no stadium seating. This is literally just like 650 seats. And I kind of, snuck my way in there, sat down and enjoyed the movie. Got to see it. They saw me walking out and they tried saying something about it. They're like, what did you do in there? And I'm all like, oh yeah, I used to work here. So, I fucking know people. And that's how I saw the movie at the midnight show. It's kind of an irrelevant story, but that's how I got physically assaulted at the Star Wars. And then I went back and saw the movie later on that day. Anyway. Yeah. All I'm saying, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. It really didn't hurt, but it's like, I thought it was just funny. Cause then like the next day I get to school and they're just, I went to school a couple days later and they're just all like, oh yeah, like whatever. And I'm like, dude, fucking, who gives a shit, dude? Yeah, I snuck in. I never needed to sneak in the movies. I used to, for R-rated films. This is true. I used to have my mom buy the ticket for me. My mom was totally on point with this. My mom would buy the ticket for me and then I would just wait in between the box offices and I would wait for like an older couple that would look like they have a kid to go see the movie that I'm going to go see. And then I would just walk in behind them with my ticket and act like they were my parents. So, yeah, nothing will stop a true fan from seeing a premiere, not even physical assault. I still think I won out in the end on that one. And last I heard, I don't know. I don't know what she's up to. I don't care. We graduated. I mean, my 20-year anniversary for high school was like next June. So I don't even know if she's alive. I don't even care if she's alive. So there we go. That's the story of me. All right. So hey, listen, if no one else is gonna call in, then we can chat for a few. Then I'll probably wrap it up a little bit early tonight. It does fly by. Yeah, it's weird, dude. I'm like 37. I don't feel 37. I feel like I'm 25. And it's so weird to think that like when I go to my 20-year high school reunion next year, that like they're gonna be like, people there that I went to school with. It's gonna be fucking odd. It's just weird. Like I could get there and go like, hey, remember when we were in high school and we all saw Star Wars? Did you see the last Star Wars that came out? It's pretty dope, right? And they're going to be like, Matt, you're an adult now. You're not a nerd. No, I'm a nerd on the internet, but it's my fucking job. Because the last time I saw these people was at my cousin's wedding in 2006. Turned into like a weird kind of like 6-year high school reunion because my cousin was a popular kid. We were the same age. And then he knew all the popular people, including all the really hot popular girls. So at the time, I decided to grow my hair out. And I did. I had been growing it out for like 10 months, whatever. My hair does not look good long, but I was in a weird punk phase. So I'm like, didn't have a beard. I just had like the goatee, no mustache, and I had like spiked bracers because I was a pirate kind of. And I went to this wedding and I show up with like my sunglasses and my long hair and my hippie goat. And I've got like my rock governor t-shirt. Cause by the way, I ran for governor of California down in San Diego as a radio station competition. I'm like the rock governor of San Diego. I'm not even kidding you. And so, anyway, I had like one of those popular girls in school. She was like, wow, no one ever told me you were this cool. And I'm all like, baby, you didn't know me in high school. I wasn't that cool in high school. I'm not even that cool now or then. I mean, I am, but, Then yeah, nothing. Anyway, that was kind of a fun night, but fucked up night at the same time. My cousin's divorced now, and fuck his ex-wife because she's a cunt. Anyway, So there's that. Anyway, yeah. So if Aaron, I guess Aaron, you want to call in? You can call in. Gatekeeper says he's 44. Feels like he's like 26. Exactly, dude. Yeah. I think you're only as old as you fucking feel. The internet makes you feel old. I have aged extensively by having a job on the internet. Like, I am gray in some places now that I'm like, why? No. And I've thought about dyeing my hair, but it's just not a good idea. So, oh. Hey, Curtis, what's going on, man?
Hey, Matt, nothing much. I was just going to say, did you happen to see that thing that I threw in the movies channel back on the 22nd? Marvel was like Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, ideas for the next one. And Tom Holland's reply was Spider-Man Homeless.
Was that actually real?
As near as I can tell, it was.
I can understand there. Hold on. There was a call that just came in. Give a second. And then call back in on that one. Okay. Yeah, that's no, not you. There's someone else who called out saying call back in a minute. I saw that particular tweet. It's funny. It doesn't feel like something Tom Holland would actually say. If I'm being honest with you, because I said it here 1 second. There we go.
Yeah, that was like all the way. That was back in May that they made that, wasn't it? I'm looking at the screenshot now. It's like, wait a minute, they made that all the way back in the 22nd of May.
It's clearly it's clearly one of those things where it's like, no, it's made up, but it's great. It's a great meme.
Yeah,
it's a great meme.
The sad part is it's true.
There was what was it? Jon Favreau keeps saying that he's he's confident that they're going to come to the table, and I'm like, the people who know the interior of Marvel, the people who know, who were like exec producers on these movies, they have, like, Feige had talked about it, but Feige's, like I said, I don't know if you saw my video about like Tom Holland's body language.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny. So many people are giving me so much shit about that fucking video too. Like, this guy with like 500,000 subs, like, this video was embarrassing. And I'm all like, nope. Cause I'm not wrong. I mean, you can look at him and you can see him look off camera when he addresses it. He's looking for approval. He's a 23-year-old kid. He's a good actor, but he is emotionally invested and he doesn't want to fuck up.
He's also isn't he kind of like notorious for
cannot keep a secret? He cannot keep a secret.
I mean, the dude can't keep a secret, and so he's going to want to make sure before he says something, because we all know how the rat treats spoilers.
Okay, Midnight's Edge agreed with me. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, one of the actress who played Cassie in Endgame, like, tweeted out that, like, she was in North Carolina, and it wasn't even really a big spoiler or anything else like that, but like Marvel security came to her trailer the next day and they were like, yeah, you can't do that. Yeah,
exactly.
No, they keep that shit pretty locked down. So really it's one of those things where I'm not too worried. Like, I have a feeling it's all going to work itself out. Feige had to leave a measured response to showcase that he's still in control. It's clearly a power move. Like, we don't need you sort of thing. But behind the scenes, they're trying to, because Sony knows they need Marvel, and they do. They fucking do. There's no two ways about it. And Disney. I mean, if it's Iger, then who knows what Iger is up to right now? I have no idea.
I mean, the fact is there a single product that Sony hasn't touched and fucked up?
PlayStation.
I mean, a single Marvel property. Because PlayStation is Sony computer, not Sony movies.
Right.
But true. Let's look at Sony Pictures, and is there a single movie that they have not, or a single property that they have not fucked up in some way?
The 21 Jump Street films are pretty good. I mean, there was a talk about merging it in with Men in Black International. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
So then they said they gave us Men in Black International, and that bombed. So, I mean, that worked out. And the thing is, their Hotel Transylvania movies are pretty good too. Nerd Report here says Bad Boys. I forgot about that. That's a Sony property. They, we're finally getting Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah, I'm saying, but that's also old. I'm talking in the last 2 decades, since the turn of the millennium, has Sony handled any Marvel product?
No.
And
well, they've only
fucked it up.
No. Spider-Man 1 and 2 were not. That was Sam Raimi. He did a good job. I mean, Spider-Man 1 was $112 million opening weekend or $114 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
Which was unheard of in 2002.
Good. This is true. And they did good with the individual movies, but then they went and tanked the entire property with the third movie to the point they had to reboot it.
Yeah.
They get to a point where they don't know how to continue what they're doing, and instead they reboot it.
Yeah. Like Amazing Spider-Man was good. Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I actually quite enjoyed it. Was I thought good, and then they're like, no, that's bad. And again, I love bringing that up in the argument when people like Sony, some kind of the comment section on one of these videos has been going full crazy about that, and we're talking about it, and he's just like, Sony hasn't. Oh no, it was on Twitter. He's like, Sony hasn't fucked up any franchise. I'm all like, really? Because like if they didn't fuck up the second, yeah, no, that was Fox. That was Fox.
That was Fox.
That was Fox, right. And that's a whole other conversation. Even though now that conversation is entirely changed and that won't be happening anymore. But no, it's but with Sony, I mean, if Amazing Spider-Man 2 was so good, like they're trying to claim, it's so profitable, then why is it they had to head over to Marvel afterward that year, a few months after it came out, and we're trying to figure out a way to merge the two together? Because it was Amy Pascal who went to Kevin Feige over that shit, not the other way around. And people seem to forget that. Like, there's a lot of selective history, a lot of selective shit happening on this particular discussion. And I think I and everyone can all agree, we just want it to fucking end. Just pull your dicks out of each other's ears and come to a deal.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we want.
The problem is that Sony sees dollar signs. Okay?
Yeah.
Sony sees money because, yes, these properties are worth a ton of money if they're treated properly. The problem is that, frankly, I don't think Sony really knows how to treat a fan.
Well, look at the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That was a Sony.
Okay.
And David Fincher directed it, and it's a good fucking movie. It's a great fucking movie. The book is way better, but then again, you're never going to be able to fully capture the book. And then they didn't do the two other films. So they decided to reboot it with the girl in the spider's web or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like that bombed, even though I heard it's good. I haven't seen it yet, but it's like, I've heard it's good. But again, it's like, you reboot it without Daniel Craig, without Rooney Mara, and you bring in Claire Foy, who's not bad, but people are kind of tired of this shit. People don't want reboots. We've been,
like I said, Sony's problem is that when they stumble, their solution is to wipe it out and start from scratch. They don't ever sit there and figure, okay, maybe we can recover from this. We had a bad movie. We had a bad movie in a series. Maybe there's something we can do to recover it without rebooting it. Instead, they want to erase their failures, and all that ends up happening is that you end up with movie fatigue because people are tired of seeing the same reboots over and over and over and never getting more of the story.
Yeah. No, and people just keep the goddamn story going, and people will be fine, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Even if you fuck it up, keep it going, because people will watch it just to see the rest of the story. That's the problem, is that they can't bring themselves to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I've been smoking something again. I don't know. We all know I have a very odd outlook on movies sometimes.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the show, to have a conversation, right? That's the whole point. But okay, I'm going to let you go, man. I'm going to try to get that one last caller in, and then I'm going to go the fuck to bed.
Absolutely.
It's almost 1 o'clock here. But anyway, thank you very much, Curtis. I'll talk to you later, man.
Later.
All right. So the last guy was a 213 area code. I know you called a couple times, and I'm very sorry about that. If you want to call back in, if you're still there, go right ahead. If not, we'll wrap it up in a couple seconds. Let's see here. What has Sony rebooted only Spider-Man? You could kind of say that Men in Black was kind of a reboot, to be fair. It was kind of a reboot, a A little bit of reboot. I mean, look, I'm not against spin-offs, right? Or sequels. I'm not against that, but it's like, what else is Sony rebooted? Ghostbusters. How about that? Yeah. Hey, 213, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Aaron Collins, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Man. I know you tried calling in before, so I appreciate you calling back.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was listening to the last caller, saying some really interesting things. I really do hope that the deal with Sony and the Spider-Man properties. I will say this much: I do like what Disney's done with the MCU. I gotta admit that I think they did a pretty good job with Spider-Man Homecoming, or the very first one with Tom Holland. That's Homecoming, and to me, they made Spidey look more like Peter Parker looked more like what he was supposed to be. He was like a high school kid, and I think it was more true to the book. They made Aunt May actually look like an aunt as opposed to her Grandma May, what she looked like before.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a there's a criticism against it where they go, oh, but they just made him Iron Man Jr. And in the comics, though, like especially in like the lead into like Civil War, Spider-Man was basically Tony Stark's protege.
Okay, all right, yeah, all right. So that makes sense then, because and these films here, they didn't really. I mean, not that I got anything against Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire. They did a really good job. I don't really know much about the Andrew Garfield films. I did see one of them, but I suspect that I'm sure they did pretty well too. But they didn't really focus too much on the Uncle Ben story.
No, I think because we've heard that before. It's already happened twice, and we don't need to see it again. And that's kind of where we are right now with these movies. Is I think one of the things they're trying to do is to do away with origin stories, or introduce them in like team up films, or introduce them in through Disney Plus shows, which to me feels like a better move. If you're gonna, why not? If you got the time on Disney Plus to explore the origin, by all means do it. But if we got 2 hours to get through a story in a theater, we don't need the first hour of that on an origin.
Right.
So I think that could be really good to try to help some of this stuff going forward. But and that's where Sony kind of made the mistake was, they rebooted, they did the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, and then they rebooted it and they did it again. And then, Marvel was like, well, fuck that. Let's not reboot it. Let's just take it 6 months after Peter Parker got bit. We already know what happened, and then the audience can just fill in the damn gaps. And that's fine. We don't need to see all of that stuff. So I think going forward, that would be a solid business plan for all of them.
Yeah, and I like the realism that even though they gave him, he was a high school kid, so of course they had him acting more like a high school kid. And then high school kids can be immature. This one just had superpowers, and really what, like you were saying, Tony, he was really grooming Peter to take over, and which is what I haven't seen Far From Home yet. I'm going to eventually see it, but I really hope that Spidey does not leave the MCU. It's just something about the MCU that it all makes sense, and I mean I hope they do the same thing with the X-Men Avengers crossover. Well, I take that back because now that I think the Avengers came full circle with Endgame, so. That's why he put the ball in Peter's court.
Well, yeah, I think, I don't want Spider-Man to leave the MCU either. I think Tom Holland loves being there. I mean, he said so multiple times. He's kind of like the kid caught in the middle of a divorce, and he just can't say anything about it. And, he just wants to please everybody. You can kind of tell that by looking at him. He's like, this shouldn't be that big of a deal, but we're talking about multi-billion-dollar franchises here, and people want to get fucking paid. That I get.
Yeah.
But as I keep saying, and I will always reiterate this, when it comes to this kind of finances, especially in our current theatrical setup, where things are theatrically, A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. If you take your money now, you can maybe parlay it into something a little bit better down the road. And you can make it work for you down the road. Marvel is in a better position overall than Sony. That's true. But it's not like Sony didn't fuck up enough times to get themselves in this position where they need to be with Marvel in order to keep things afloat. As I've said before, any way you slice it, any way this goes, eventually the rights for Spider-Man return to Marvel. Eventually. Whether Disney offers to buy it outright from Sony after kind of like screwing Sony over repeatedly by cutting them off at the pass every single time and hurting them theatrically, or they just wait for Sony to sell because they can't manage shit properly anyway. And if they ever sell, the rights automatically return to Marvel. Whoever's going to buy Sony doesn't get the rights to Spider-Man. Any way you slice it, it will go back.
And can you imagine if Disney was to acquire all of Sony's intellectual property like it just did Fox?
I don't want them to. To be honest with you, I don't want them to. I don't even really want them to get Spider-Man back. I want them just to work with Sony, to work with Disney, to make it work. Just make it work. I don't want them to have Ghostbusters and everything else Sony has got, because I do want more diversity in filmmaking. I want more studios because Sony. Have you seen The Boys on Amazon?
No, I haven't.
Do you have Amazon? Amazon Prime, Amazon TV, whatever it is.
I think I could try to get it. I have the regular Amazon. I don't have Amazon Prime yet.
Oh, okay. If you can get your hands on that show is fucking awesome. It is like it's the anti MCU. Actually, it's more making fun of Justice League than it is Marvel as a satire, but it's 8 episodes and it is great. And it's all out right now. Season 1 is fantastic. And that's The Boys. And that's a Sony. That's a Sony property. Sony produced it through Sony Television and then, put it over on Amazon. And so that's the whole point is like Sony's television, like, what was it? Breaking Bad is done through Sony. So they've got a really decent television lineup, but they also are not afraid of exploring the darker themes. And that's great. That's why I don't want that. Disney's not going to do that. Fox, as much as I want Fox to be like the R-rated brand of Disney content, I don't think it's going to happen. Which is unfortunate because Alien, Predator, a bunch of those other things are going to end up being kind of fucked over. So with any luck, they'll make it work with Spider-Man, and then we get to have this universe that people really care about. And so, Sony, they've got to just pull their head out their ass and realize that they're backed into a corner. And it's their own goddamn fault for franchise mismanagement. Because every time they get a leg up on something, they fuck it up.
Right. You made a point there. I forgot that Alien and Predator were Fox properties too. And for that matter, so it's the Die Hard franchise. Now I think about it.
Yep, very true.
Think about it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy,
John
dude.
McClane as a Disney character.
That'd be funny. That'd be really funny.
Yippee-ki-yay. Oh, wait, I can't say that anymore.
Yeah. Yippee-ki-yay, mother lover. Is that good? Okay, Bob Iger, cut me my goddamn check. But hey, man, I'm going to let you go because I'm going to wrap this room up. I'm going to go to bed. Because it's super late here. But hey, thanks for calling in, dude. And, definitely call in again, okay?
All right.
All right, have a good one, man.
You too.
All right, guys. I think coming up here on the 1 a.m. hour, I appreciate everyone tuned to GPKA, Mr. Falcon. Yep. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I'll be back on tomorrow night, 11 p.m. And if you guys are new, let me know. Join the Discord. There's a link in the video description. People chatting there all the time. And yeah. All right. I'm going to go. My voice is gone, if you guys can't already tell. And have yourself a great night. And peace out.